What's up? What's up? What's going on? It's your boy Money Mark here, kicking it off with another episode of the Logical Crazy Talk podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Just Tim.
Yo. What up?
And Just Tim. We now have Just Chris. He's Just Chris. You were gone, and you turned into Just Chris. I just thought I'd let you know. He's Just Chris. So there's two Justices in the group. It's awesome.
I love how you just hold the just though. I love
just?
It.
Just. I really hold it for Chris. I really hold it for Chris. Did I just say Just Tim? Just Chris is like that. Just. Give it some breathing. Let it breathe for a little bit. Chris.
All right, so laugh, flashing.
See? Just Chris. See?
We back.
And it just nullifies all that shit he just did, right?
No, it doesn't.
You don't, I mean, not in your head, I guess. I understand. For the audience.
That's where it counts. That's where it counts, man.
In your head?
That's right.
Cool. All right, guys, kicking it off another episode. I don't know what episode this is because we don't count.
19.
Yay! Okay, episode 19. Yay! Are you sure this is episode 19?
Positive.
Okay, cool. Episode 19. And it's been some crazy happenings going on in the NBA. I'm talking basketball. Sorry. I thought I would have got, a little bit more.
Now basketball is my favorite sport.
I thought y'all came in when I said it.
We are waiting for it to drop.
For it to drop.
We got some crazy happenings going on in these playoffs. Don't enter the playoffs. A lot of salty fans out there. A lot of people who were supposed to make it didn't make it. The Eastern and Western Conference Finals is full of cats. I don't know who half of these cats are. I'm just playing. I know. I actually been paying attention because this shit is exciting. Is this exciting for you guys?
No.
No?
No.
Not at all.
Did someone's favorite teams not make it? Did someone's favorite teams didn't make it?
Not a favorite team.
What happened? Come on.
The league, I think the league just evened itself out. That's all that happened, man. Some of these new cats, these young cats with these young legs, and these older niggas just they can't hang no more. when Memphis put out Golden State, I was like, good Lord, what is going on?
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew that was gonna happen. At least I knew it was a possibility. I knew that Golden State wasn't gonna go very far. And I mean, Steph, as glorious as Steph was this year, I just didn't see Steph making a strong push. It's just too much. And plus, Ja Morant is ready, man. That boy ready. Ready.
No, they're young. They have those young legs. If you watch them play, they play like a young team. They run and gun all the entire game. So it's like, these older cats.
That's true. That's true, but Ja Morant is ready. I need to make sure we emphasize.
Yeah, of course, but it was
that boy ready.
The entire team is like legit. Next year they'll be reckoned with.
I think so. I agree. That boy believes himself. There's some of those kids. You see when some of those players, when they start believing themselves, that's when some shit happens. Like,
it just takes one dunk. Then it goes on ESPN. He was like, "Shit, all right."
I'm the realest.
One dunk.
Honestly, when I first saw LaMelo Ball put in transition in a game, just do a behind the back pass, I was like, "Oh, that boy believes himself. He's ready." He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready, guys."
He did play professional, 2-3 years before he got to the league.
Now, let me ask you this: when you say professional, does that count?
Yes, that definitely counts. Think about all the NBA
overseas.
But he's over there though.
Yeah,
overseas.
It's not like he was in France or Italy. He was like in Australia or some shit.
But they still play overseas ball. What do you mean? They're all over.
I'm just putting it out there. There's some countries. There's some countries that have pretty good ball. Like even overseas, it's a pretty good ball. You play over in China, it's pretty good ball.
They all perform at the Olympics. Yeah, so I mean, you can't
professional level.
Fair enough. Yeah. That's fair. That's a fair ass statement, Tim. See, just Tim coming too strong. I got you with the points. Coming out that pink, well rested. I got that. All right, so anybody's teams didn't make it? Tim.
I cannot confirm or deny.
Them goddamn Nets, boy.
We were cheated.
First of all, them niggas were cheating. First of all, those niggas were cheating.
There should have been more time on the clock.
There's like 1,000 niggas on that team. There's like 1,000 niggas.
Like a centimeter back, one step back, a little bit further back. Game would have been over.
I'm just saying that there's like 1,000 cats. There's like 1,000 niggas in that team. 1,000 of them. There's no. I don't care.
Three.
Like
there's three. And then one game.
Is Blake? Is Blake?
Blake doesn't count. Blake, have you seen?
Why does Blake not count?
Because he don't even jump.
He's not the same Blake. Like he's
Blake counts.
He's a role player now.
Then why they get him? They
just to have a name out there.
Wasn't he like hurt?
A name. He's hurt. Look, if Blake
that nigga's not hurt.
You're not driving to the hoop. You got one person to worry about now. You're like, oh, Blake is out there.
Blake has been not hooping on purpose for years. And okay, maybe it's taking him the rest of the season to warm up. Like Blake, probably next year is probably going to be catching windmills off the top of the back. He probably.
Did you watch the last game? Did you watch that last game?
I also watched him dunk on Giannis.
He did not jump.
And I also watched him dunk on Giannis.
Like game 2 after he was like rested.
Like Blake. I'm telling you, Blake is not in NBA
one dunk
shape.
done the
Blake
rest
is not in NBA shape. I'm telling you, Blake has not been playing. He's not in NBA shape.
I was disappointed.
That's what I'm saying. Like so he's not a factor.
Yes, he is. Because he's a body. You got Jeff Green out there. You got Joe Harris.
I mean, you're talking about professionals.
The staff that they have was enough to beat the Bucks. I'm sorry. Yes,
it was.
The Bucks just rose to the occasion.
They lost Kyrie. They had a hurt James, and all they had to depend on. You double team
the greatest shooter, one of the best shooters in the game, one of the best closers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, he can't do it. He can't do it alone. And then, so I mean,
what happened to Joe Harris? What happened to Joe Harris too?
That's what I'm saying. We still trying to look for him.
What happened to Uncle Jeff?
We still looking
for
him.
He dropped Uncle Jeff. He doesn't comb his hair.
Missing. We still looking for him.
Who's the point guard? Shannon Brown? Is that the point guard? Who's the point guard?
I don't know, dude. It doesn't matter. You have Kevin Durant. You don't need anything.
One game, he took the last 2 shots in one of those games, and I'm like, who the fuck is this guy?
It doesn't matter, Chris. We could have been out there, and we probably would have won the series because you have Kevin Durant. The Bucks just rose to the occasion. That's all that happened.
Nah.
The Bucks rose to the occasion. I'm telling you, Giannis.
They took advantage of the situation.
Yeah. This is what happened. I just want to say
they took advantage.
Giannis wasn't a factor. You know who was a factor? Middleton. That motherfucker won 2 games.
Okay, so Giannis, who has been consistently scoring and dropping 30 this series.
The last 2 games, look at who scored in clutch time, not Giannis.
Okay, that's fine. Giannis is a post player. Like you play basketball, you don't give it to the post player at the end.
What's wrong with that? Nah, I mean
what? Yes,
players that's taking their team to the final.
At the end?
You give it to your best player.
Who hits the final? Okay, let me ask you this. Was Kobe the best player when he was playing with Shaq? Or Shaq the best player?
Kobe was the best player.
Kobe was the best player than Shaq?
Kobe was the best player.
Kobe's better than
Shaq. Not at first. I wouldn't say at first.
Kobe's better than Shaq.
Kobe had a lot to learn.
Kobe was better than the walking
Kobe wanted the ball. Kobe wanted to win, so Kobe's the best player. Kobe was in that shot.
I want to hear that shit. No.
What are you talking about?
He was not the best player. He wasn't.
Okay. All right.
He wasn't.
Shaq was a better player.
He was the best player.
Kobe was more skilled, maybe. But I said Kobe was more skilled, but Shaq was the better player.
He was way more dominant.
Okay. All right. Kobe was a better player.
Kobe was a better player. This is how we prove this. Kobe, there was Tracy McGrady. Shaq, who was there? Mutombo?
What?
Yao Ming? Like
who was guarding?
Who could guard him or match?
You had the Admiral.
Match?
Dennis Rodman. Chuck.
The Admiral. The Admiral was not the Admiral when Kobe and them got together.
Yes, they were.
It didn't matter.
He definitely was. What are you talking about?
Name how many Spurs. Name how many Spurs championships during the Kobe and Shaq era.
Right before that, they had won 4 in a row, 2 or 3 in a row. What are you talking about?
Before the Kobe and Shaq era.
Yes.
Before the Kobe and Shaq era.
Was it?
And as soon as Kobe and Shaq came together, as soon as Kobe and Shaq came together, they dissipated, right? And they didn't win until Shaq was off the team, right? I recall there was at least 2 seasons where them niggas got swept. What are you talking about?
Who?
The Spurs. There was one season where the Lakers swept everyone except and then lost to the Detroit Pistons. I don't have to pull it up. I know this will happen.
They lost to
the only competition the Lakers had was the Sacramento because they had so many shooters. That's it. And they had Chris Webber in the post. And even Chris Webber couldn't stop Shaq. Shaq was the best player on the team. He was. No. Kobe's gay. Listen,
I would have to respectfully.
Listen, no one could stop Shaq from doing what he was doing. That's why Hacker Shaq was a thing. And that's why they started giving the ball, and that's why they started deferring to Kobe at the end, because Kobe could hit the final shot and he could hit free throws.
Okay, so you gave it to Kobe because of that, right? You give it to your best players, what we're originally talking about.
No, that's what you said. That's the dumb shit you said. I didn't say that.
What?
That's the dumb shit you said.
You just said. I said Middleton scored. He's like, well, isn't that what you're supposed to do? Why would you give it to Giannis at the last minute? Because he's a post player. That's what you just said.
Yeah, and I said.
Okay, so you just said they developed a Hack-a-Shaq because they had to give it to someone else.
No, I'm referring to the concept of you give it to your best player. That's not always what you do. That is what I'm referring to as dumb shit.
Correct.
Okay.
Walk that back.
I'm saying to you is Middleton scored, and he's the best player. So he wasn't really the factor though in those last 2 games. It was Middleton.
Listen, I feel like if Giannis didn't decide, listen, the reason why these games were games is because Giannis decided, I'm no longer going to shoot jump shots. You have to stop me in the low block. And that's why they won. Like, yes, Giannis is not a shooter. Yes, Giannis can't hit last-second shots. Yes, you have Middleton. That's why they bring in Drew Holiday. That's why they brought in PJ Tucker and all these other guys, because you need people who can shoot and hit outside shot and hit free throws. But Giannis is the most dominant player on that team, and no one had an answer for Giannis. Not Blake, not anybody.
Yeah, no one. They have a small team too, though.
Yeah,
that's fine. I understand it. I understand that fully. I'm not knocking it, but I'm just saying, due to your logic, you give it to the last person. So Middleton's the best player on the Bucks.
No, not at all.
Okay, then.
I was saying that he was the reason they won.
The X factor.
I would say that the reason why they won is I would say the reason why they won is because of Giannis. A lot of Giannis's play in previous playoffs were him shooting outside.
We're not talking about previous playoffs. We're talking about this playoffs.
All right, in this playoffs, Giannis dominated in the post. If you look at the numbers, Giannis was leading on like multiple categories.
I don't know. I feel like Giannis didn't really put like on a big show. Like it was like a typical Giannis like game. Like he did what he was supposed to do, and like he didn't go like far beyond what his typical game would require of him. But the X factor, like Chris is saying,
was
Milton. So like that's what helped him over that one missed shot. That shot.
Let me counter that with this too. Yes, you are 100% right. It is a typical Giannis game. It's typically what Giannis does. The issue with it is in the playoffs, Giannis doesn't do it. Like in Eastern Conference Finals or conference whatever or semifinals, he typically disappears. They typically put defensive schemes in front of him, and then he reverts back to trying to jump shoot or being whatever the case may be. In this series, honestly, a lot has to do. You guys are right, because they brought in those shooters to free up Middleton, right? They brought in those shooters to free up Middleton so he can create and he can be more free, essentially. They brought in two ways, right? PJ Tucker and Drew Holiday, which also frees up Middleton, right, to score, essentially. Mm-hmm. And what that does is creates this environment.
Is PJ Tucker a scorer? He was more for defense.
He's more a defense, but he can hit the outside shot. PJ Tucker, you can't leave PJ Tucker out. He can hit the outside shot. Yeah.
But I mean, for Giannis, this is his I don't really watch him play, playoffs. I'm for my team, fuck the other teams. You know what I'm saying? But
well, because the Bulls are not going to make it in 2025. I mean, you gotta watch other shit. You know what I'm saying? You gotta watch other shit.
But I felt that. But with him, isn't it like his third year coming this far, or and he's still like kind of new?
To the conference finals, he's I think he's usually put out right before here because I think Toronto put him out before they put out the Sixers.
Yeah.
So semifinals. I think last year Miami put him out mad early in the bubble. Yeah. So that's like 2 or 3 years. So since his MVPs, he's usually out in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. This is the first year. I say this is the first year where he's acclimated, and I think. To you guys, this point, your points are valid. I'm just being argumentative because we have a podcast and we need content. But you guys are correct. I mean, because of Middleton, because of Drew, because of these other guys out here, what's happening is that they can't put the wall of China like they normally do. Before they would just form this wall of China. And they go, okay, shoot, and he can't hit an outside shot like that. That's not his game. His game is to power through you. But now that they have all these guys here, even though PJ Tucker is not a scorer, he can hit an outside three. So you have to put a man on him. So therefore you can't form a wall. And if Giannis needs a double team. He's an MVP. Every MVP probably needs a double team. That's what makes you an MVP. He needs a double team. He might need more than one nigga. So if you can't double team him, he's going to power through pretty much everybody. There's only a handful of people who can stop Giannis, especially when that dude has
or taking the charge. He loads up and just goes just full steam ahead.
I feel Giannis is skilled enough to lay up around him.
Nah, he had to stop because he backs up to that 3-point line and just you either got two choices: take that charge or get the fuck out the way. Those are the only two choices you got with him.
But people try to take the charge and it doesn't stop. He just lays up around him.
A lot of that, if you watch it, he had to stop doing that so many times because he was getting a bunch of fouls doing that.
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
in his wheelhouse though.
Yeah, I think his game is developed. He has developed enough finesse. I think that was early on in his career. I think he's developed.
I'm talking about in the playoffs. If you watch the playoffs, he had to stop doing that. He had to either get in the paint and do his turnaround jumper or get in there. He had to already be down there. He couldn't just load up and make the layup because he was just tearing through everybody. If there's nothing that can stop him, once he gets going, you're not going to stop him. But if you're going to take that charge and, willing to get injured, go for it. And a lot of people were like, let's do it.
It's the playoffs, baby. Do or die.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Well, let's get to the subject I really want to talk about. How about them Hawks? How about them Hawks? And how about those Sixers? Jesus. What are those dudes doing?
What's my man's name?
Ben Simmons?
No, fuck no.
Who?
For the Hawks?
Or which team?
Or Doc?
Sixers, Doc Rivers. That's the most unluckiest son of a bitch. That nigga has got to figure some shit out. Whatever curse he either needs to stop being a head coach because that's ridiculous.
RDC Word already did a Doc Rivers on him.
Did they again?
No.
I know I'm fine.
Everybody, Ben Simmons, stand up. I'm gonna read. Someone give me Ben Simmons' averages for the playoffs.
Oh god! How did that happen to you? That's twice now, right?
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny because PJ, Paul George is actually. I mean, he hooping now. We can't. He playoff P. He done found playoff P. He ain't pandemic P anymore. Them niggas are terrible. Yeah, so pandemic P. That is horrendous.
This shit was true though.
The media is hilarious. Pandemic P.
It's like calling me Championship Chuck. Oh shit. P.
P. But hey man, found his little groove. He ready. Heard everything y'all done said. I mean, they lost the first game, but and we're gonna get to that. But I mean, we gotta talk about what. So is Ben Simmons a bust?
Ben Simmons is like an average player. He hasn't developed a better game.
That would make him a bust, then, right? Because he was supposed to be the shit, right?
I never knew he was supposed to be the shit.
He's a 6'10" guard who can play defense. He can do everything but shoot.
Well, that's probably one of the main things you might you might want to put in the arsenal.
But like he's not like I'm saying he's not trash. He's just not
he's not a standout.
Yeah, he's not a sharpshooter. Like he can. Like so, I'll say this for me: Ben Simmons, all the talent is there. But it's mental for him. It's mental.
Maybe it's probably it.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't had his ESPN cover yet. That's all.
Look at his attempts. If you look at his attempts, he's not shooting. He's scared to shoot. It's to the point where YouTubers are making memes about him. RDC World Buddy from RDC World point out in his Doc Rivers impression, why aren't you shooting? Who got you scared? Did you see that crazy play with him? That was Trae Young on him. That was Trae Young.
Trae Young is tiny. Like compared to all those players.
Was he in the post or something?
He was in a post, bro. He was in a post. So Trae Young came and I think he spun off Trae Young, and he had an open layup and he tossed it to the cutter, but the cutter was defended. So Buddy was like, he was cutting because that was the design play for him to cut. But he just assumed, you could tell he assumed that Ben was just going to take it up because he had already spun off Trae. But they sat him down for the final minutes they sat him down.
I got it. He don't have his like Mike shoes on, man.
That's there it is. That's what it is. He didn't lace them up. He said, I don't have my shoes. I need my shoes to play.
How are you a point guard? How are you a 6'10" point guard who could pass? Like, how are you a 6'10" point guard and you can't? Like, they sat you down? That means you're a liability. That means you're a liability.
That's sad.
And Joel Embiid, as good as he is, I'm sorry, he's not. That team's good enough for. Ooh. That team is good enough for Ben Simmons to be garbage and them to be the Hawks. I'm sorry. They are.
True.
They have the personnel.
True.
They have the personnel. They have the coach. Joel Embiid is. I'm sorry, he's not. He's not.
But I mean, from what you're telling me, I feel like they ain't going. If they beat the Hawks, they're not going anywhere after that. Because I mean, like, if your star or supposedly star player is sitting down like the last what would you said 2 minute, whatever.
Mm. Oh, bro, they would have been the Bucks would have tore through. The Bucks would have tore through. It would have been embarrassing. It would have been embarrassing. The Bucks would have tore through because those guys are serious. Drew Holiday and the rest of them niggas believe like they brought a toughness to that team that they didn't really have.
Right.
And Middleton is free.
Right.
He's free for the first time. He's like free. He doesn't have to do anything else. I got two other dudes who play defense. I could just create. You know what I'm saying? I could just create. I could just do me. You know what I'm saying? I got, Giannis is unselfish. You know what I'm saying? He's an unselfish player. So, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Perfect storm. Yeah.
Perfect storm. Like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. It is interesting. Well, so over on the West, you got your boy. Well, let's sure we give Trae Young his flowers. We had a podcast, early podcast, where comparing him to Luka. Luka ain't never made it past the first round. Just want to point that out for all you fans out there. Luka's never made it past the first round. First round poppy, Luka. First round poppy.
Is this his voice off? Am I tripping?
Is yours going on? Okay. I could hear it.
Yo, is this nigga fucking up?
Yeah, I was like,
no, I'm back. I was whispering, but I think my audio set. Well, anyways, like I'm saying.
I thought I was high for a second.
But
yeah, his mouth is not matching up for some odd reason.
What? It's not?
No, it is.
No.
Well, Tim just said now it is. Is it not?
Now we all look at your lips.
Okay.
Good thing they ain't crusty. Nah, come on.
Man. We major shouts out to we gotta give Trae Young his flowers while he's still Trae Young out here doing his thing. We had an earlier conversation and we're talking about Trae Young versus Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic has not made it out the first round of the playoffs. Luka is now First round, Poppy. First round, Poppy. My boy Trey done made it to the finals, the conference finals. He makes it champion. He makes it to the finals, man. It's over. I'm gonna talk a lot of shit to a lot of people.
Man.
I always like he was good. He's not exciting. That's all. He
plays for the Hawks. That's why
Trey?
He's not exciting. He plays for the Hawks.
Yeah, Trey.
He plays.
I mean, I don't care. Think about fucking Memphis. He plays for Memphis. Wasn't an exciting team, but when the niggas jumping over like 6 feet, niggas dunking, you're like, who is that? That is cool.
You take note.
And he's doing it consistently. You don't give a fuck what team he's on. You're like, I want to see that nigga dunk.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Hey, do I sound better, fellas? I had a situation going on with my mic.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Well, let's go ahead, jump into it. We're just gonna keep moving. Well, I mean, I hear that, but listen, Trey could shoot. I mean, he got a nice ball handle. I think he just doesn't. I think there's a lot of things. First of all, Trey just looks weird. He's a weird looking cat. I'm sorry. He's a weird looking dude. Dang. Everything about him doesn't scream hooper. He doesn't scream like he hoops. I'm sorry, he doesn't.
Unorthodox. Okay.
And then on top of that, he's on the Hawks. The Hawks have never been televised for real. Memphis has always had better, like they've always been more televised. Like even when you name Memphis has been, we've seen more Memphis games on TV than we've seen Hawks games. Think about who they had on their team.
I would say recently.
I don't think.
No, not recently. Not recently. Yeah. I'm talking about back, like in the history. Since we've been watching NBA, we've seen Memphis on TV way more than we've seen the Hawks.
I've seen the Hawks more.
You have? Maybe it's a geographical thing. Maybe it's a geographical.
It could be.
But I've always seen Memphis because they had Connolly, because they were always in the playoffs. So, Memphis games always came on TV when they had Zach Randolph and they had Connolly. The Hawks have been perennially just not the Hawks. After they got rid of Dominic Wilkins, they've been perennially the Hawks.
Nah, they had what's his name, Joe Johnson or something like that. And that crew. That was pretty entertaining because it was like it was almost a fight every game.
What are like Joe Johnson, Steven Jackson, and like
yeah, and the boys.
They had the Expendables.
And the boys. Y'all ready to fight tonight?
Hell yeah, baby! Been ready to fight. Yeah, man, that's crazy. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know, but I just want to make sure we, give Trey his flowers. Over on the West, it looks like Phoenix. Chris Paul might get him one, huh? Riding that Devin Booker.
I hope he does. That's
popping that Devin Booker.
No, you can't even say that, dog. Chris Paul was a big help.
No, bro. Like, listen. Chris Paul's value should go without saying. Chris Paul's value should go without saying. First of all, he brought OKC to the playoffs, and we know damn well OKC should have been. Last year he brought OKC, and they brought your Rockets to Game 7. They brought them to Game 7. So I'm just saying, Chris Paul. Listen, I have nothing ill to say about Chris Paul.
Every team he touches, he definitely takes them to the playoff.
I've always just felt that Chris Paul. My only critique ever of Chris Paul is that I've seen him in big game situations where
he does make the right decisions.
Yes, basically. Yeah. Yes. He's like flawless, and then in big game decisions, he's like,
State Farm.
Help me.
Please. Like I've seen him in big game situations where like I forgot what series it was. I think they were gonna either go to the finals or what. I forgot who they're against. Was it against San Antonio? I forgot who it was. But they were like Game 7. It was a way to go into the Western Conference Final, and that man had 3 turnovers back to back in the fourth quarter with like under 5 or 10 minutes left. I was like, Jesus, what is going on?
What was that? I feel like it was the Clippers, man. I don't know.
It was the Clippers. He was on the Clippers. I just don't know who they were against.
Oh,
I don't remember who they were against. But it was like 3 or 4 turnovers in clutch time, back to back, and I was like, yeah. I mean, we can't blame the injury. We can't blame him for the injury against when he was on the Rockets. I say to this day, had he been injured, they might have beat Golden State. To be honest with you, but Devin Booker, man, he's legit. Stephen A. says he's the next Kobe Bryant.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk. But he is hooping his ass off though.
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask you this: why do you feel that? Why do you feel that? Let me ask you that.
Why he's not the next Kobe?
Yeah, why he's not the next Kobe?
Give him some time, man. Damn, get that boy breathe. Give him a couple championships.
They didn't give LeBron time. They didn't give LeBron time.
LeBron came into the league with it.
He came in there dunking.
Did he? I think he started. I think LeBron started showing out maybe second or third season. I think third season. I think that's when.
No, I'm saying like the expectation, like Zion. He had like the Zion expectation, and so it was the first one we'd seen like since Jordan. So we were just like, oh, he's gonna be the greatest thing ever, and now we anticipate these guys never making it. Like we're not really stressing Zion about being LeBron. We're like, oh,
Zion's coming, bro. Zion's coming, bro.
I know he's coming, but it's not the
Zion's
same
already here,
levels.
in my opinion. But he's already coming. He's
the first year LeBron was in the league. We're like, you didn't get a championship. You'll never be Michael. He'll never be a Michael. And we're like, damn, like he's 18.
Listen, I am one of the biggest LeBron haters ever, but like I'm like, bro, can we just give that nigga time? Like, just give him time.
No.
Give him time.
And then when his first year, like he had to go to a team with all stars to win. Pussy.
I mean, yeah, a lot of people do that Michael Jordan thing, but they don't understand that team, those Bulls teams, like I think those Bulls teams are celebrated, are highly celebrated, but also dismantled conveniently when you're having that conversation. Like I oftentimes talk about how good those Bulls teams are. And they are good unless you compare them to LeBron's teams. And then when you compare them to LeBron's teams, like, no, LeBron had way more talent. I was like, well, I don't know, man. Like that 72 win team was pretty damn good, in my personal opinion. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's the times. Like, I mean,
Scottie Pippen was like he was the top. That people thought he was a top 10 player in the league. Just two top 10 players playing on the same team, interchangeable.
The difference was.
He was getting fucked over.
Scotty wouldn't get paid. Scotty was getting paid like he was a sixth man.
His original team were the Bulls, right? Like if LeBron had like pulled Chris Bosh and Dwayne from college or something, we wouldn't have looked at it so terrible. But because Michael had these guys straight to the Bulls, he didn't go, these are the greatest guys in the league. Let me jump on that team or let me pull them here. He was like, they had them fresh. So we were like, oh, wow, these guys are really good. It wasn't like a pick, like, oh, I need him and I need him to make an ultimate super team.
Okay, let me break this down, Chris, what you're saying.
But
so the problem is those Negroes got together and do it, and the teams and the other white people didn't do it for them. That's the problem. Is that it?
Yeah, basically that's exactly.
Okay, there we go.
But once it started like all these weird ass super teams, and it was like the league got boring as fuck for a minute. Because like, yeah, we know
it's back, man. These young players, man.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's fun to watch again.
But it's back because the same thing is happening. Like, but it's gonna go through that same dry area because all these old niggas that we like right now are going to retire, and then it's gonna be these, like a couple of young niggas that can do it, and it's just gonna be boring.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say. A lot of the good old guys, I think, because the league has kind of turned into such a finesse league and a skilled league. I think a lot of players, and plus, of course, technology and whatever, players are able to play for a lot longer. Can you not hear me?
Yeah.
Can you? Oh, okay. It's just me.
Okay. Players are able to play for a lot longer. So it's not
the Matrix.
What, is he in the Matrix? Oh, man.
He might be. You're not. Go ahead.
Oh, man. Well, yeah, players are able to play for a lot longer. So because of that, you know what I'm saying? I think a lot of these older players are going to continue to play. We're going to see them. Like Steph is going to play for a while. LeBron probably has a couple more seasons in him. He's probably not going to be the number one option. KD, KD is in his prime right now, I feel. But then you have some players like, Kyrie is injured every freaking season. So I think James Harden is so freaking savvy that he'll be a factor on the team for a while. Russell Westbrook plays too hard, so we may not see him there. You know what I'm saying? There's players in here, and these younger players are already starting to step into their greatness already. Like he's only 22. Luka's only 22. As much as I want to,
like 16 professionally since he was like 16.
Yeah, that's true. But Luka's only like 22. Trae Young is young too. They're about the same age, I think.
It's a lot of those little dudes.
Yeah, I mean, so I think the league is gonna be pretty entertaining. I think what will happen though,
but it's not enough for them to like combine, like do the threes, the big threes for
to have super teams.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like when all the big guys drop out, they're not gonna have enough teams or enough young stars to be the NBA that they are today because there's not enough stars to go around like that.
Well, good. I hate that.
I'm saying, don't you think that I may just make the talent more spread out?
That's what makes the playoffs fun because we would have never guessed fucking Phoenix in the playoffs.
Yeah,
we don't
bro. Every time I look, I'm like, okay, the Clippers got him, and it's like, well, listen, they need Kawhi. The Clippers need Kawhi because Booker ain't playing. All right, Booker ain't playing. They need Kawhi. They need Kawhi. And they need Kawhi. That's all I got to say. They need Kawhi. That's just it. Playoff P is playoff P. I give it to them, but they just need Kawhi. That's all I got to say. I think Devin Booker has the potential. I mean, Devin Booker is looking like a really strong closer. He don't play like a third year or second year player. He plays like he's been there. So shouts out to Devin Booker. And yeah.
Yeah, Devin Booker's hooping his ass off. So I was impressed because it's consistent. It's consistently he's going out there and doing
consistently good. Let me ask you guys a quick question, and we can wrap up the NBA time. Do you feel that Luka will get a championship on Dallas?
He could be another Nowitzki.
I don't feel.
I think he needs a more team. Who's the center for
Porzingis?
Porzingis is good. Who is
Porzingis? So basically, stuff is coming out that Luka is having issues with Carlisle and Porzingis. So I think Luka needs to leave because the West is just growing, and like Memphis is coming, and New Orleans is coming. They're coming.
I think he's on the right team for him, though. Honestly,
Golden State is coming. Golden State is coming back. Like where are they going to fit?
Where does he fit? Where does he fit?
I think they need to build the team around him because like he fits that style of play, like Dallas's game plan or whatever.
The White Hope.
Yeah.
Give it to him, yeah. Give him a great White Hope, man. He go to a nigga team, he got some real problems, man.
I send him over there to DC, man. Russell Westbrook, man. Let him cook the
kitchen, Russell ain't fucking around with him, man. He's scared out of his mind trying to take a shot. Russell gonna look at that nigga like, what are you doing?
Let me talk to you in the locker room.
I don't give a damn who you think you're. This is my team. I've been running things here for the last 2 years.
Yeah,
maybe Houston, man. They can use him. Well,
Houston has a curse.
Either way, the NBA is looking fun. There's so many different matchups and so many different things that we can see. I can't wait. I can't wait to see who wins this championship for real. It's gonna honestly.
Phoenix.
That's what I'll say.
I got 200 on Phoenix.
Hawks, man. About them Hawks.
Shoot. Phoenix.
Phoenix.
Them Hawks, baby. Them Hawks. All day. Oh man, all day. All right.